In this lesson, we're going to look at simplifying polynomial expressions with just addition and subtraction. Now, whenever you add or subtract terms that are in a polynomial, they must be alike, and we say that we combine like terms. But what makes terms alike is that they have the same combination of variables with the same exponents. And so an x squared and an x squared are like terms, but an x squared and an x to the power of 3 are not like terms. So in this first example, we're going to take this first polynomial and we're going to add it to another polynomial. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan through and I'm going to try to find some like terms. I have an x to the 4th term, and I do not see any other x to the power of 4 terms. Looking here, I do have an x cubed term here and an x cubed term here. Next, I do see that I have an x term and an x term. And finally, I do have constant terms that can be combined. So, doing the operation, the 3x to the power of 4 has nothing to combine with. The negative 2x to the power of 3 plus 6x to the power of 3, so that's negative 2 of those things plus 6 of those same things is going to be 4 of those things. Next, we have 5x plus 10x, which is going to be 15x. And then finally, a minus 3 plus 9 is going to be plus 6. What happens when we do a subtraction? Well, there's two ways that you could do a subtraction. You first off are going to identify your like terms. We have an x cubed term here, we have an x cubed term here. There is only one x squared term, but there are x terms, and again, there are a constant terms that we can simplify. So maybe you're comfortable with just in your head saying 2x cubed subtract 6x cubed is going to be a negative 4x cubed. The reason why I don't like doing that is because of subtracting this negative term right here. We often make mistakes when we subtract negatives, and so my solution around that is to put in the hidden 1 that is here and then distribute this negative 1 over every term that is in that bracket. So multiplying this out, I'll have a 2x to the power of 3 subtract 2x squared plus 5x take away 3, and a minus 1 times 6 is going to be a minus 6x to the power of 3. A minus 1 times a minus 10 is going to be plus 10, and then there's an x. And then minus 1 times plus 9 is minus 9. Now I can go ahead and I can combine my like terms. So I know that I have these terms that were alike from my work up above. And now I can simply add or subtract the coefficients. So I have the x cubes. I have 2 take away 6, which is going to be negative 4 of them. There is no x squared term, so that will stay the same. We then have a 5 plus 10, which is going to be a 15x. And then finally, a minus 3 minus an additional 9 is minus 12. We'll look at one last example here. So in this case, I have numbers being multiplied by both of the brackets. So in the first one, I'm going to distribute this 4 over the entire bracket, and then I'm going to distribute this negative 2 over the second bracket. So distributing the 4 times 2 is going to be 8, x to the power of 2. 4 times 6 is going to be 24x, and then 4 times a negative 1 is minus 4. Distributing the negative 2 over the second bracket, I'll get negative 2 times 3, which will be minus 6x to the power of 2. Minus 2 multiplied by minus 5 is a positive 10x. And then minus 2 times that positive 7 is a minus 14. Now I'm going to look to combine my like terms. I've got some x squared terms, I have some x terms, and I also have constants. So combining the coefficients of the terms that are alike, 8x squared take away 6x squared is 2x squared, 24x plus 10x is 34x, And finally, minus 4 minus additional 14 is minus 18.